So recently, I reacted to the State of the Game blog post that Bungie posted where they talked about feedback, talked about quality of life improvements, sandbox changes, and sadly, they were taking also some explanations on like things that we would love to see, like expect to see, and they told us to lower our expectations, and that led to a lot of disappointment in the Destiny 2 community, a lot of emotions, and even on my end, I reacted to it, obviously. I was really disappointed, and I had my expectations low to begin with. If you want to know my exact, like, full in-depth feelings of the state of the game, I did upload a video talking about it. It's a very long one, but I tried to go in-depth on everything that I was just feeling about it. And this video, though, I want to specifically talk about PvP, because that was one thing that I was just, it was super disappointing to hear. I mean, just the core playlist in general, which I may make a video talking about each core playlist and how I feel like Bungie could do a little bit better on those areas. And that's what I want to try and do here without being an armchair dev. Like, I will say right now, I have no experience of making games, working on anything for video games and stuff like that. So I'm not saying this is how it should be, and this is, like, I know this would be easy. This is more aligned to conversation, and it's because, like, a lot of the things that they mentioned answered some stuff, like, to tell us why they can't do certain things, but it then adds another question on top of it, like, specifically when they said that they don't have the resources to just keep making new Destiny 2 PvP maps, because then it would take away resources from exotic missions, story missions, and like seasonal content. And the next question came in, was like, okay, well, first I was like, oh, thank you for explaining why you can't. But now it's like, okay, but how come you don't have a dedicated team for just PvP maps? Same thing would be for like Gambit. And even like trying to overhaul strike playlists to have strike exclusives and stuff like that, like back in D1. Like, these are conversations on where it's like, why can't this be a thing? And that's why in this video, I just want to try and see a middle ground where we don't get something always brand new every season, even though it'd be great, but just have a conversation about this, because a lot of people are very upset, including, like I said, myself. I love playing PvP. Yes, it's a chaotic mess and it's not very balanced, but that's the fun of it. And Destiny's gameplay is really, really unique. You don't find this kind of style of game anywhere else. It's just like with Halo, like where it's just a unique experience, and Destiny is unique. It feels great. And when it comes to PvP, like, my big problems, yes, could be like the meta and stuff like that, but I know it's not always going to be balanced. Everything's going to change, and that's okay. But when it comes to the actual content inside, when it comes to the maps, I mean, I'm playing Trials, going for a weapon for some cool rolls, but I'm playing on a map that I've been playing for 5 years, and with no unique or new experiences, or slightly new. Like, even like when Bungie was saying they don't have the resources to make new maps. Okay, well, you have maps just sitting there in the vault that you should just be bringing back as soon as possible. I don't know why it's taking this long for them to take the Destiny 2 maps that they took away and bring them back. They said that it's not as easy as just copy paste. And okay, I know that there's probably some technical stuff, some technical wizardry, you know, magic that needs to happen first to ensure that it can actually be playable in the updated version of the engine in Destiny 2. Okay, fair enough. But why is it taking years to do this? Like, they said that, well, you know, sometimes we gotta, you know, balance the map a little bit where, like, we change the spawn so then there's not issues on spawns. And I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, we got Meltdown back, and I'm having the same issues that I've had with the map, like, since it first released, spawning in the same kind of ways where it's weird. And even then, it was busted when it got released after taking this long to release back into the playlist, for example, where if you got the map, it didn't count for any progression in like comp matches or Iron Banner for a while. And so I don't understand. So like that should have been like the first thing that they stepped on, which was bringing back the maps that were vaulted. And even though not every map was the best, it doesn't matter at this point, because after being told what they said with, you know, our expectations and to lower it about new maps, it's like, okay, well, if I can't have this shiny new thing, can you give me the thing that I had before then? And they're like, oh, you mean the thing that you already had and it's not as shiny and new because you experienced that? Yeah, I want that. That is how desperate we are. We would be fine with getting something that has been taken away from us, and I'd be fine with it. Yes, there are some maps in there that were but that I don't care anymore. I really don't care, because that now it's like one of those moments where it's like once it's gone, then you actually start to be like, okay, you know, I really miss that now. Like, now I realize the value of that, and that's what I'm feeling here. And I think that a lot of people are feeling that. And I know that not all of them are going to be balanced for, like, modes. Like, specifically, we didn't have Rift in Destiny 2 right from the launch for these maps. That's okay, whatever. You know, we're not always going to have every mode work for every map. I mean, that was one thing... Like the science of Halo. Halo's map making and the way that Bungie did it for like Halo 1 to Halo Reach was to make them fun. There would be maps that were genuinely, they would even say to themselves, hey, this is a great map for Capture the Flag. This is a great map for you know, a 6v6 experience, a big team battle map. This one's great for that. Like, I'm not going to load into, like, Sand Trap and be like, this is a great 1v1 map. Like, no, I'm not going to assume that. Like, it's going to probably not work so well, but that's okay. It's great for big team battle. It's great for Capture the Flag, and it has some chaotic moments, and that's great. You will have some maps that aren't so great, and you'll have some maps that are amazing. Some modes that work, some modes that don't, and that's fine. There shouldn't be this like stress from Bungie on the devs where it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta make sure that Rift works perfectly. We gotta make sure that this little hallway doesn't lead to people just easy getting the thing to the other side, and oh my goodness, you know, don't worry about it, because if it doesn't work, you just don't put it in that playlist, and they've done that before. Like, it's just, that's fine. I mean, in Destiny 1, Bastion, what was it, Lunar, the moon map, they were huge, and that's actually one of the reasons why I was so excited to get into PvP going forward, because big team battle was one of my favorite things to just casually play, and seeing that inside of, you know, inside of, Destiny 1 was great, like kind of like with Halo. So okay, I'm on board with this. This is great. And they stopped doing big team battle for Destiny 2. I really wish that there was just big team battle and, you know, unique experiences inside of Destiny 2 as well, to build upon. And if it's not balanced, whatever at this point. I really don't care. And like, again, Halo was like this, where maps were not always going to be this super, really balanced experience. It's for every mode. Like, there was going to be ones that work with one and not with the other, and that's fine. And I think that that should be something where they should just not worry about it. Just bring back those maps. And with that being said, I really think that the next thing is if we don't want to use the resources to make new maps, give us the maps that you have sitting there in Destiny 1. Take all the Destiny 1 maps and bring them into Destiny 2. It's like that Patrick meme. Let's just take the Destiny 1 maps and push them over here. Like, I know that, again, it's not as easy as just, you know, copy paste, but they're there. And we've seen how they were able to bring even raids from Destiny 1 and bring it into Destiny 2. So it'd be nice to see Destiny 1 PvP maps be brought forward. And it goes with the same thing that I just mentioned, where some of these maps are probably not going to do well in every single mode. And that is fine, because again, that was what it was like back in D1 as well. Certain maps just weren't put into big team battle, combined arms. Some maps weren't put into trials, elimination. Sometimes they did, and they were just like, you know what? Screw it. It's lunar for trials. They did that, and it was different. It was unexpected, and everyone had a mixed feeling about that being there, and I had some fun. It was unique. It was new. And that's great, because everything's been just very the same. Yes, the sandbox will change, and that leads to different experiences, but it would be nice to have the environment also feel unique, something new, or like familiar. And it doesn't have to be new maps. I would love to have a shiny new map every season, but if this is what their bottom line is where they just can't. If we can just believe what they're saying entirely, that there's no way that they can make a map every season and do all this other stuff, okay, then just do this. And then maybe like after they start to bring all those maps from Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 that were vaulted into Destiny 2, maybe then after that, like years later, or like a couple 2 years, we can start looking into other things to start maybe trying to get a formula figured out where there is maybe at least a couple maps every new expansion. Like that was one of the things that I was always excited about when it came to Destiny 1 with Taken King. We got a lot of PvP maps. Same thing with Rise of Iron. And Destiny 2 obviously expanded on this, where they added Gambit. And it's just, yeah, Gambit. That could be, like I said, its own video in itself, like me talking about that. But I've said this even during D1, that Bungie is using the same engine. I believe it's like a modded version. Like it's changed a bit of the same engine, the Blam engine that they used for Halo. And Halo had a map editor called Forge. And this is where, like, you know, you could say, oh, you're being an armchair dev. I just want to have this conversation. I'm not saying this would be easy, and I know it wouldn't. I know that there would be so many things that they would have to do to get this to work in Destiny 2, but I think this would be a really good investment. If Bungie, if you're like, we can't make you content, let the community do that. That was one of the things that was so unique to me when it came to Halo 3. I was blown away with the first map pack that they released, where they had Foundry. Like, they had Forge, and it was very basic originally, where you can change the spawns of weapons, move barrels, and we do goofy stuff with the fusion coils and the vehicles, and it was new, it was unique. I was like, oh man, I like this. And when they added Foundry, where you could completely just delete majority of all the geometry in the map, other than the things that you can't, you have this just empty, just boxed room, and you can place objects the way you want. People got really creative, because originally you couldn't phase objects into each other like in Halo Reach and the new Forge. The way to do that was you would have a timer. You would restart the Forge map, and you would have a timer where it spawns in. So you would have to like try and like really, okay, like, and then they would like, oh, I'll put it right here, and they would phase into each other, making into like two objects into one. So that was how people were able to make this like crazy stuff that Bungie didn't even see coming. Like were like, oh, what? Well, you didn't. Well, I'm gonna assume they didn't know that people would be able to do that. And they enhanced it further with like, well, I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called Sandbox or something like that. And even if they had a basic version of like Halo 3 Forge into Destiny, it would be nice. You know, even just because like in Halo 3, people would just put a wall to like a hallway and stuff like that. And so then you didn't have this route anymore, and people would have to change up the gameplay because this one spot is just got a wall in the way. It's just, but I would much rather obviously have something like to the extent of how Forge is now, or at least to like Halo 5's version or something close, because the Forge, if you know Halo's Forge, especially now, it is crazy on the things that you can do. There's a lot of scripting and stuff. You can add AI opponents to the map and like really make sure that they work well with the map. But you can add water, you can add special effects, you can have like a button where you press it and a door opens or something like that. You can do all kinds of different things. And I'm not saying that, oh, that would be right away inside of Destiny. I feel like they can build upon it over time, but I just want something. And I think that we can all agree that that would be a great investment if Bungie were to do that. And that was like the main thing for me for a long time. I said it ever since they were struggling with the adding of new maps in Destiny 2. And I called it. I said that when they were going to go free to play, conveniently, all this focus on making core playlist updates, like where we get new maps, new content, would kind of go away or like not be existent as much. And here we are, because I've seen it with so many other games where they go free to play. But the thing that sucks is Destiny 2 is not free to play. It's really not. It's free to try. It's like you're in a trial version. And I've always tried to think of ways that they would still be able to monetize in a way, new maps and stuff, but they always just don't go so well. Like if they, for example, they would make a new map that is exclusive for those who purchase the expansion for like the first season. So it would only be in this case would just be in trials. Then it would have to be a map that works with trials. So I don't see that working, and I feel like that would just lead to a lot of other problems where people just are like, well, I want to play it in 6v6. And stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know. I really don't have the answer when it comes to that, where they would still be able to monetize the core playlists in a way. I've said that there was ways for them to do that with the Strike playlist, which I'll probably make a video, like I said, talking about even just the Strike playlist if you want me to. But when it comes to PvP, it's just, this is where I think is what's best. If they're just going to let PvP be more about sandbox updates, and it's going to be more focused on small changes where they add new modes, and that's the other thing, is like modes and stuff, like I would love to see more cool and chaotic stuff and fun things to try out. I even said that I do not know why that like private matches in PvP, we have no options to like infinite ammo on special weapons or infinite ammo to heavy weapons, so then you can do crazy things like that. Like Halo had custom game options that allowed you to do the most just insane stuff, where some of the things would just be way too goofy, or things that were just like small tweaks to balance certain things to have like an MLG quote unquote experience. And seeing that would be nice. It's not just the maps, it's the modes and the quality of life improvements to having this social game inside the core playlists. It's just, that's where I'm at. They should have definitely took time from, like, if they knew that this is where their mindset was, and I feel like this was something that they knew for a while now, that they should have been like, okay, let's definitely try and invest then money into time and resources and stuff to implement Forge. And I mean, Halo Infinite is working towards to allow AI, like other than the PvP AI, PvE enemies. They're looking into adding PvE enemy AI into Forge, where people could make maybe like story missions, or in my eyes would be like Firefight, which Firefight was like a horde mode. Imagine if we were allowed to do that inside of Destiny instead of just PvP content. Like, imagine you can make Gambit maps. You would specifically put the giant, you know, smoke wall where the enemies just kind of walk out, because that's where they spawn in, or like you can choose where the ships fly above and drop troops down. That you could do those things and choose how things spawn and stuff, for where the portal is for Gambit, where the primeval spawns, where the bank is. Imagine you could do that too. It's just, if they invested into a in-game map editor for PvP, that would be amazing. And I know that the worry with that would be then if people were to make PvP maps, oh, well, then people would not want to buy what Bungie's creating because they're so focused on Forge and stuff. That it's already free. When we get maps, new maps, they're already free, so I don't see the problem. If anything, the thing that I did say that I genuinely think why they would never do this, other than maybe securities and stuff like that, if that would be an issue, is modding on PC, like allowing a separate version of Destiny that doesn't have your progression of your character and stuff. Kind of like what Halo MCC is doing, where there's two separate games. There's the one that's got the anti-cheat and where you can play online through the matchmaking and stuff like that. And then there's the modded choice one where you can mod and play mods through Steam. And we went through Cursed Halo recently, and that was just so much fun. And instantly I thought, what if the community was able to do modding in Destiny and make raids? Like the funny stuff, the just crazy things and cool stuff that people would make. But I think that Bungie would be really worried about that, where people would be wanting to play the modded stuff more than the stuff that they would be overpricing, in my opinion, to like with the deluxe editions and stuff at you for a raid that maybe is not so good. Because passion does come very strong with making content, like with mods and Forge made maps through the community. I mean, Forge is a great example when it comes to Halo, where you would have the main maps that the devs would work on, but then you would see maps from the community made that's super good, like even better than what you would see from the main part of the game. And we would see that with mods as well. So I really think that they would not want that to happen. Plus, they would have to worry about, like, if somebody would make raid mechanics and, oh, they copied that for like a new raid and stuff. I feel like that's why they don't want to have the freedom of the community to do whatever they want as much, because of those scares. And it sucks, and that's the reality that I know why they would not want to do that. Plus, like I said, it could be a security thing. We already have cheaters already. That's a huge issue, so who knows. But Forge, at least, I think that would be a good middle ground. The biggest middle ground with everything that Bungie stated, as I said from the start, is going from getting all the vaulted maps unvaulted into Destiny 2, like right away. I think that should be the first thing that they do before Final Shape, or when Final Shape releases. Then from there, go into the D1 maps and start adding those. Like maybe like every season they start sprinkling them into the game. This is where we're at. And it would be cool to see like Combined Arms return into Destiny 2 if they were to take those big maps from Destiny 1 and put them into Destiny 2. I just want something. And I think everybody wants that. No matter what area of the game that you enjoy, you feel this. So when you're like, well, I don't care about PvP. Okay, well, think of areas that you would love more content. For me, I liked playing the Strike playlist in Destiny 1. I would love to see innovations in the Destiny 2 Strike playlist that is at least close, or like equal, I mean, to Destiny 1's version, where there was the Strike exclusives. There was even like the changes of the enemies throughout the Strike sometimes, and especially even on top of that, the bosses sometimes changing. Like, oh, you might get Archon Priest Captain not Taken version, but then sometimes you will get the Taken version, and the gameplay would change and the enemies would change. That was cool. And when Destiny 2 was announcing that they would have a Strike playlist, I assumed the same thing, and it wasn't like that. I thought that they were going to go, oh my goodness, now we have this like this AI like learning system in the Strikes, where like sometimes you'll have to go this route or this one. The enemies would change all the time, to the point where you will always have a unique experience. We have Strike exclusives where there's an armor piece for each character this time, instead of just one for some of them. Every single Strike has at least one weapon. Like, I would have loved that. I would have really enjoyed that. And I know that Bungie was saying I think that they mentioned, I'm talking about strikes now. I should be talking about what I was just saying, but it's just like a teaser, like exactly what I mean, like where I would talk about these areas. And not only that, but I'm just trying to let all of you know that we're all wanting something. And I think for PvP, the first things that I mentioned would be the best option if they can't make new content. Like if they really are just being super duper honest and they just can't have a team specifically to work on maps. But I just don't think it just, where the armchair dev viewpoint, I just don't understand how this billion-dollar company can't make at least one new map each season. Like, because over time, if they were to do that for like one of each category for the core playlists, that means with the 4 seasons in the year, we would get 4 maps for each core playlist, and every year that would just continue to evolve. And that's what I want. That's what I would love to see. But instead, we're at. So I really don't know, but I really hope things change. I really do. I know that we still have the Destiny 2 showcase for Final Shape, but I know that when it comes to the PvP end with what they said, that's where we're at. Like, they're not gonna, I don't really, I mean, unless they're just gonna be like, oh, we bamboozled you, when they show off on the showcase that they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we have 3 brand new PvP maps coming out with Final Shape. I would be mind blown on that, but I would assume that probably not, because yeah, they said what they said. So it's just a matter of seeing what else that they have in store, which I feel like there will still be exciting things, and that's kind of why I've told all of you that I'm not quitting Destiny. I would love to continue to play Destiny. I still have unique experiences and fun inside of Destiny, but it doesn't change the fact that I am genuinely disappointed in certain things, and this is one of them. This is one of them of quite a few or many things that I'm disappointed on. And you know, no matter what, I'm just trying to have a conversation. It's not to be toxic. This is just constructive criticism, and I will always say that, like, it's okay to give criticism. It's okay, as long as it's constructive and it's not toxic. If you're going to be toxic, go to your room. You shouldn't be on the internet if you can't be civil about things. And I know that sometimes we make mistakes because our emotions are very strong with stuff that we're passionate about. Well, you need to chill. So I'm very passionate with Destiny, so that's why I get so emotional about this game, because I see the potential, and it makes me so upset when it doesn't live up to that. And that's it. As simple as that. But regardless, I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like, do you agree, disagree? Would be something that you think would be the best options and stuff? Just let me know in the comments down below. And if you would like me to make a video just talking about Gambit, talking about the Strike playlist, let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I'll do that at some point as well, like talking about each portion of the core playlists. But regardless, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a chibi-tastic day, night, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Chibi out.